you ever heard of Po Ma Zhang Fei, furious like Ma and Zhang? Doesn't these four characters immediately paint a vivid picture in your mind? Today, we're going to talk about this interesting workplace concept. What exactly does it mean? And how might it affect our careers? Come on, let's break it down together. Look at the psychology behind it and find the solution. So, today's analysis will be divided into 4 parts. First, we absolutely must understand exactly what Po Ma Zhang Fei is. Next, we will dig into the underlying psychological root that you might not expect. Then, we will look at the antidote, the power of humility. Finally, and most importantly, we will provide a practical method you can use to make a change. Okay, before we start, let's consider a scenario. In your work environment, have you ever encountered someone who is, well, particularly impatient? Someone who flies into a rage over a small thing? I bet a certain face immediately popped into your head, right? Maybe sometimes that person is even ourselves. This moment where patience suddenly snaps is exactly what we need to discuss today. First, let's formally define this behavior. It has a very vivid, even dramatic name, Po Ma Zhang Fei. This term describes more than just impatience. It refers to an aggressive, completely out of control kind of arrogance. Think about the terrible impression this behavior leaves in the eyes of others. I think the best way to understand this behavior is through a story. Let's look at what happened in a hospital. Imagine a new doctor arrives, and simply because a senior colleague, perhaps distracted by being busy, forgot their name, the new doctor immediately changes their expression, letting their annoyance show completely. This disproportionate, explosive reaction is the most typical example of Po Ma Zhang Fei. This highlights a harsh reality. We often think we can control or hide our impatience, but as the saying goes, you think you held it in, but your face has already betrayed you. Your boss will absolutely see right through that emotion. Okay, so now we know this behavior is a huge minus point. But the question remains, why are some people like this? In the second part, let's explore the underlying cause, which might be completely different from what you think. I think the analysis here is spot on. On the surface, this behavior makes the person look extremely confident, maybe even a bit conceited, right? But I'm telling you, the truth is the exact opposite. It actually stems from a very, very deep sense of insecurity. This mindset can actually be described as having a bit of a mama's boy mentality. What does that mean? It means their inner self is actually incredibly fragile, like a child who needs to be coddled and held in someone's hands, completely unable to withstand even a little bit of denial or being ignored. They desperately need others to affirm them, to give them applause, to prove their worth. So, that aggressive arrogance is, when you peel it back, nothing more than a disguise for inner fragility. And please don't think, oh, it's just a little flaw in their personality. No big deal. The research is very strong on this. It's essentially a disability in the workplace. Think about it. If you act this way in front of your boss or an important client just once, that label of immaturity might stick with you for life. Since the problem lies in this mindset, what is the solution? Of course, there is one. In the third part, let's look at how to counter this arrogance. It has an incredibly powerful antidote, the power of humility. Look at how strong the contrast is between these two mindsets. On one side, you have a narrow mind, unable to tolerate others' mistakes, desperately needing affirmation. But on the other side, a broad mind, capable of accommodating many things, and a person who is calm and self-possessed. These are two completely different levels of life experience. Let's revisit the story of the senior doctor when faced with such rudeness from the junior doctor. Was he angry? No. Did he yell at him? No. He just quietly and professionally finished his own work well. That is mastery. This perfectly illustrates a paradox of influence. The more you try to show off, the more you try to prove how great you are, the more people actually look down on you. True influence is absolutely not begged for. It must be earned step by step through a humble attitude and professional action. Now, after all this talk, how do you actually change? That's the key, right? In the fourth part, let's talk about truly practical methods you can apply. There's a metaphor here that I think is super cool. Changing is not about forcing it with willpower. It's about reinstalling a brand new internal operating system for yourself. Wow, I really love that metaphor. Think about it. It makes self-improvement seem like a computer upgrade, a process you can actively control. So, how do you install this new system? Here are 4 very practical steps. Start with observation. Listen and watch more. Talk less. First, treat yourself like a sponge, absorbing information. Don't rush to express yourself. Learn to appreciate. Note the things others handle well in your mind. Thinking, I need to learn that. Turn that jealousy into motivation for learning. Master self-reflection. When you see a negative example, remind yourself, I must never become that person. Internalize. Keep practicing until these good habits become part of your subconscious. But after hearing this, you might think, won't this practice feel fake? Like I'm acting? This is the key point. You absolutely must remember, the purpose of practice is definitely not to make you hypocritical, quite the opposite. Practice is for making the better you become, the more authentic you. By the time you're done practicing, humility and composure will become your most natural, instinctual response. There's no need to act. Ultimately, every single one of us is writing the code for our own lives every day. After understanding all of this, what kind of new system do you want to install for yourself? I truly believe this is a question worth serious reflection for every one of us.